Welcome everyone for the astrology capsule of January 2018. January means a new year. So a new year is quite special. We know that the new year, a year, will be influenced a lot by its first moments, the first instance of 2018, which will all happen while everybody will be wishing everyone else a happy new year and so on. Those very first moments on January 1st will be really key. So that's what we'll be looking at mainly for January. Those aspects happening on January 1st will totally influence the entire year. So that's something critical, something really important. So let's work mainly on this. Let's do a brief recap of 2017. There was a lot of action happening, but mainly it was 2017 was a way to make us aware of certain dynamics. The main ones were created by a big square triangle aspect happening between Uranus opposing Jupiter, and both of those having a square with Pluto. Remember this one? We talked a lot about this one. And basically it was bringing to us all the power issues. How do we deal with those power issues? And in the world, it was really obvious. A lot of things were happening. It was very strong. So that was the main goal. And actually it was about preparing this Jupiter so that when it will enter Scorpio, it will be ready to really work in Scorpio. Now, what is special is that on January 1st, Jupiter in Scorpio, right in the middle of Scorpio at 17 degrees, will be in conjunction with Mars. Mars, it won't be a super strong conjunction. It will be stronger a few days after, because Mars will be at 14 degrees in Scorpio at this moment. But still, it's the conjunction, and that means a lot because we talked a bit about it last month. Mars was in Libra, and at the exact same spot as Jupiter was when it was having this square with Pluto. That means that Mars had the square with Pluto as well recently in the last 2 months. And this was very key because we also prepared Mars to do this work in Scorpio. And it's happening now for 2018. It's happening on the 1st of January 2018, showing the way for the entire year. And this conjunction of Mars and Jupiter now in Scorpio, since they already faced, when they were in Libra, they faced this square with Pluto, and they faced what it is to deal with power. Now that they are in Scorpio, it's a time where they are facing the truth. And Mars, which represents our actions, Jupiter, which represents our way to manage our personal energies, both of them put together in the middle of Scorpio, right in the center of that sign, that tells us that our actions in 2018 will be totally depending on our own truth. What we really, what deep inside we really think is true, what we really wish for. All those energies of Scorpio, from our subconsciousness, our even unconsciousness, really deep things that have impacts in our life, but we're very often not aware of them. Now our will and our way to manage our actions and our energies are totally working together in this world. So they are working according to this world. So that means that if something is unclear in our subconsciousness, if something is not in line already, there might be some tensions. But if we did this work, last year, 2017 was meant for that, to prepare ourselves for 2018. It was a big way to make us aware of how do we feel when, we're directly connected to power. And there's a lot of power in our subconsciousness. So that's why this conjunction tells a lot. It really shapes the whole year 2018. I know it's a conjunction that won't last for that long because Mars is going through really fast, but since it's happening on January 1st and then stronger early in January, it has a lot of impact for 2018. So think about this one, how our actions are connected to our own truth. what is true for us. What we know is true. And we cannot lie to Scorpio. It's clear, it's for sure, it's what is really in our subconsciousness. So our action will have all the power of our subconsciousness. And our way to manage our energies, our Jupiter, will totally allow this energy to go through. So a lot of power to do things, to make big shifts in 2018, real shifts, concrete shifts, because there's so much energy behind it. We're talking about our subconsciousness, even our unconsciousness is behind that, especially since they're connected to Pluto from 2017, that square we talked about. So that's very, very key. Remember this one, that's a really important conjunction. The other one, important conjunction, is the Venus and Sun in conjunction at 9 and 10 degrees in Capricorn. So they are right there when Saturn, we know, just entered Capricorn in December. And that tells a lot again. When Saturn enters Capricorn, we know, okay, he's at home, right? Because Saturn is governing Capricorn, ruling Capricorn. So we know that we can bring new structures in place. And having Sun and Venus, those two most bright, luminous, beautiful ones, together, it means that, oh, yes, we can bring this on Earth. It means that matter, material world, the fact that we're incarnated in our bodies, the fact that we have those structures that we need to eat, we have some needs because we're incarnated, all those things will actually follow. Because Venus is all about that. Venus likes to have matter, likes to have the material world shining. It loves to bring life into matter. It loves to see beauty into matter. It loves to see the beauty in nature, which is totally this wonderful material world we're surrounded with. So it loves that. And it loves also our interrelations, the relationships that are happening between people, because when we're incarnated, we forget about so many things, right? We don't know everything anymore. Well, we never really did, but we forget a lot of things that we knew before when we come on Earth, right? We're born and we're kind of, pure, and we don't know all those things, and we start having relationships, we start interacting between each other. And Venus loves that because she loves to bring life into the fact that we are incarnated. Because through those relationships, there's a lot of life happening. Even if it's not always bright and beautiful, for Venus, it is beautiful because it is alive. So there's something really special with Venus and the fact that Venus loves to see light in matter. And now that it's in conjunction with the Sun, you can have more light than that. So this is a promise from Venus that our Saturn entering Capricorn in 2018 is really powerful, and will that possibility of changing structures in our world, and the government and associations and businesses, and just also through our own interaction with people. There's always a kind of a hierarchy that is happening there, between people, and all those structures will be able to change them. So if there's anything you want to change, any structure, any habit that you have that implies a structure between people, it's time to change that in 2018. It's time to bring a new one. It's not about changing it for nothing. It's about, because Saturn is in Capricorn, so it's about bringing our consciousness with Saturn in Capricorn to choose what type of structure we want, because we need a structure. And 2018 is a really good moment to bring that structure that we wish for alive, to do it. And Venus is promising us that it will happen in matter, in our material world, in our incarnated world, very concrete. So this aspect is also extremely important. And now the third one is the opposition of the Moon, which is just entering Cancer, and our Saturn. So depending where we are on the planet, that will be more or less exact on this 1st of January chart, this first moments of 2018. But nevertheless, it is there and it is active for the entire planet. And that opposition means a lot also, because as we have, Moon Sun and Venus in conjunction in Capricorn, with Saturn there as well. We also have Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio. All of those are working together really, really well to bring that shift, to bring that new structure, because we need a lot of energy to do that. And the Jupiter and Mars in conjunction in Scorpio give us all the power of our subconsciousness to bring what we really desire as a structure for the world we wish for. So as we put all that energy there, and you know, Capricorn, it's that goat with a kind of a fishtail that is on top of a mountain. And when we reach the top of a mountain, we can sometimes feel a little bit lonely. You know, we feel that we're there where we're usually we don't really belong to the top of a mountain. We're not used to that place. And sometimes we might feel a bit lonely. We might feel stressed because there's a lot of responsibilities. When we go there, we don't have the valley that gives us everything, that gives us water, that gives us food, that, you know, that care for us. So we might feel needy a little bit. And it's important to move away from that stress that can just happen because we work so much on this Capricorn, this structure idea we talked about. So the moon is kind of promising us, because the moon is kind of surrounded with very few planets and luminaries. It's kind of all alone over there, opposing Saturn. So it's promising us that if we use our imagination, our moon, if we use this imagination, we can totally create ambiences, we can connect with thoughts, we can connect with beings that bring to us this inner peace. And that is very important to keep in mind, because the stress level may go up quite a bit, because we will be involved into realizing so many things, into the concretization of what we hope for since so many years. And now that the conditions are so good to make it happen, sometimes, you know, we might feel that we give too much. We are so much stressed. There's so much happening, we can't keep up with that pace. And the moon is a promise that if we connect with our imagination, if we do this work, it's totally possible to feel in peace, to feel well, and to remain committed, and to remain involved into this big shift, this big change, this move, this switch of structure for the world we wish for, right? So the moon gives us this promise. It's in Cancer, it's at home as well, just like Saturn. Both of them are at home and they're facing each other. It's very strong influence, and it's happening on this January 1st in the morning, very early. So that is totally influencing 2018, the whole year, because as we said at the beginning of anything is influencing the whole thing, right? So it works also for a year. It works for anything else, by the way. If you start a project, be really mindful and careful about the beginning of your project, how you start it, the first little steps that you take, because that energy will keep on. You know about cycles. So basically, that little cycle will recreate itself so many times through the entire realization of your project. So that's very important to have a beautiful beginning, because you'll be kind of doing again this little pattern so many times, and it will evolve. Well, of course, as it's repeating, it's not always the same thing, but it's evolving all the time, opening up and giving what it has, just like a grain of wheat, you know. It's not finished, I have a grain of wheat, that's it, I eat it. No. You grind it, you make flour with it, then you prepare the dough, then you bake it, then you have a good bread to share, right? So it's the same thing. At the beginning of the year, we have some kind of a seed, and it's showing us at the very early January 1st, that chart. And then that seed we'll work with it, right? We'll work with the same seed, we'll change it, it will change form, but it will still be that same seed. And at the end, we'll have a bread, and we'll be sharing that bread. And that's what, right now, we're still in December as I'm talking. And that's what we're doing right now in December. We're sharing this bread with everybody. This is happening in Christmas, of course, when we have all those great dinners and sharings and celebrations. So that's very beautiful. So basically right now in December, as I'm talking, maybe when you're hearing it, we're not in December anymore, but right now for me, we're just starting this this sharing of that bread that we prepared. and that was the 2017 bread, and it's really good, and it's really nice to see what we can do with a year, and a year is really a great gift. So I really encourage you to prepare for that year, actually, to think about it. And if you feel that, oh, 2017 was a big preparation year, I think I didn't get it totally, I totally encourage you to look back at those other astrology capsules we went through, because they were all really important to really set a good base for 2018, which will be way more into materialization, concretizations of things. Very physical change will be happening in the world, in organizations, everywhere. And that's something important. That's why I say it again. I repeat myself a bit, but that's so key. I want you to know about this. I want people that want to make a difference in the world, that are working on themselves, because it's all about our own inner work, basically. And I want people that do that to know that this year, 2018, is a great year to make a change. Because people with a lot of power, with big companies, with big everything, of course, they have power and they kind of shape our world anyway all the time. And they have this power all the time. And sometimes they know because they have advice, they have advisors that know about those things like astrology and so on. But they don't always know. But what is nice is for people that are really wishing a good change, that are filled with great intentions, and they want to make the difference. I really want you to know that. That 2018, it's a time for change. It's a time to it's a time to, you know, to aim for the top, and to believe that even aiming for something really high and that might look difficult to reach for us, that we can actually reach there and affect the structure of things that will have so many more influences everywhere else in the world, in the lives of the people around you, depending on your work, right, what you're doing. But look at this, and if you have a great project, something you really want to do, you have great goals, 2018 is a really good year to make it progress quite a bit, like structurally, meaning you can connect with people that have a lot of influence and then make things move a bit faster. And it's a great year for this. And I can also tell you that 2019 will be continuing this work a little bit. Part of that work we're talking right now will still be going on in 2019. So it's not something that is happening just right now, just in January, not at all. It's for the entire year 2018. And part of it will also keep going in 2019. So as things are moving so fast nowadays, it's important to know that this 2018 is so key to do this kind of work. And it gives us this blessing of changing the structure of things. Yeah, we could talk a lot about that, but I think if this is good enough. If you do have any questions, please ask them. I always reply as soon as I can, and I'm passionate about this, so don't be shy. I like to take time for that. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and see you very soon for the February capsule. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.